Hey kids, it's Englanteen here, and I know earlier I gave us a little bad news just showing a trailer that says that SJW Marvel ain't gonna do for the people that actually supported them throughout the years. So, here's another video of comic books we suggest you check out, and a couple of them we suggest you avoid from the independent circuit, and some of these are quite fun, so I hope you enjoy the video. The one-star books, the irredeemable, the awful, the absolutely horrendous run from them.
Justice Inc., The Avenger, #1. So, take a Doc Savage story, then remove all the excitement, the fun characters, the over-the-top action, and the cheesy but fun villains, and then throw in a ton of boring dialogue, uninteresting characters, a hero who comes across as a serial killer, and then make all of this bad crap a part of a story that is so trite and cliched and boring that can be used as a sleep aid for people suffering from insomnia. And finally, accompany it all with art that's just this side of bland and depressing, and you end up with Justice Inc., The Avenger, #1. There is seriously no way to enjoy this book unless you are reading it to distract you from something worse, like, I don't know, root canal surgery or something. Maybe being eaten alive by South American army ants. This book is trying too hard to be cool and is failing too hard to be anything but horrible.
The two-star books are merely bad. There might be some saving grace that keeps them from being truly horrible. Vampirella #4. Now, in a book that I assume is about Vampirella's mom, considering the way she's dressed, it is okay. I mean, the art's not bad, and for the most part, the story's not bad. That's the way Vampirella should look. But overall, I don't know, just not bad is the best I can do for this. But it totally gets annoying. She goes to hell, and she meets Satan, and he gives her a tour, and then he says, hey, you want to rule? And he gives her a part of hell to rule. And along the way, they get a little SJW when he says, I've changed the circles of hell, and one is clickbaiters, and one is automatic callers or whatever, and the next one is a whole bunch of people going, you're a cuck, you're a cuck. And, you know, it's obviously supposed to be people who are, because they're calling, you're a cuck libtard. So, you know, it's basically supposed to be conservatives and such, so, you know. I don't know. This book has been completely underwhelming, and I am sorry, but it's not Vampirella. Vampirella has teeth. This book does not. The 3-star books. Now, these are the ones that are average. They didn't elicit a response from us, good or bad. Baby Teeth #2. Now, Sadie has to deal with the fact that she is a teenage mom, 15 years old, with a new baby that was immaculately conceived. And, of course, she's feeling the pressures, but thankfully her family decides to help her out. The second part of this story has a shadow government kind of group that have discovered that there's a new birth and that they have to do something about the baby because they know that he's demonic. And the third part is hiring the killers that they want to go kill the baby. So, anyway, it ends up being a pretty good book. I mean, it's not amazing. It's not going to rock your socks off, but it's not going to throw you away either. It's not going to chase you away, I should say. There's good dialogue to it, and overall, the characters are interesting. Even when they're swearing, it's not incredibly vulgar, which unfortunately a lot of books like this tend to try to go for. Even Preacher has that, but this book is not bad. The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina #7. This is a good book to a point. It's something like 40 pages long. Now there's a second story. It's more of the Archie style. The first story is told more graphically as a real horror novel. And it's basically about Sabrina's origin, her conception in this case. And it's very long-winded. It does not need to be this long, I think, because it starts off really strong, and then it just kind of peters because it repeats over and over again. You couldn't conjure up Satan, son. I'm sorry, Dad, you couldn't upset. It does this like 3 or 4 times. But what's there could have been so much better. It's not a bad story, and it could have been a lot more exciting had it been a shorter book, had they edited out just those extra pieces.
Transformers Till All Are One, number 11. Starscream comes to some self-realizations that have been long in coming. First and foremost, that despite his best efforts, most of his fellow Decepticons still see him as Megatron's punching dummy. And while that's going on, Windblade fights Vigilum for control of her own mind. I gotta tell you, this issue's loaded down with dialogue, and not all of it's the most interesting dialogue in the world, if you know what I mean. I mean, sure, it serves the purpose, but I'm certain they could have done it better than they did. I mean, we all knew Starscream was a whiner, but this sort of pity party is ridiculous. That said, it wasn't terrible or hard to read or anything, it was just boring. So maybe things will pick up the next issue.
The 4-star books. Now we're getting to the good stuff, the stuff we can actually recommend. Ash versus the Army of Darkness, number 1. So I guess this is the one that's based off the TV show. I love the fact that they caught everybody up in one word bubble when he's yelling at people. It isn't even like a previously on. It's just he's in high school and he's being a substitute teacher, and the kids there, he's sure one of them is trying to raise the dead, so he's trying to get them to confess. When they start to insult him and he yells, "Hey, you wouldn't believe where I've been," and he just tells the entire history of the Evil Dead series, and it's a ton of fun. This book is a lot of fun. It's funny, it's easy to read, it's very quick paced. It is everything you'd want out of an Army of Darkness comic book. Black Hand and Ironhead is such a gem of an odd duck. It is entertaining, it's fun, it's funny. It takes place in a world where there are superheroes. However, superhero and villain battles no longer happen on the streets. Instead, they happen in a contained area where that is provided by this very wealthy foundation and family. The young redhead is poised to take over for this foundation, but she's a little hesitant. She wants to be an old-style hero that does the battle on the street and stops the small crime, but her father and other people are wanting to make her into the head of the foundation, so they try to beef up her image. Not in always the best terms. They definitely body shame her. She's got red hair, that kind of thing. The dialogue, the action, everything is quickly paced and fun. This was a breeze to get through, and that to me is very important. I mean, sometimes I do read books and it just feels like a slog. This, however, went by really quick, and I can't wait for chapter 2.
Doc Savage, The Ring of Fire, number 4. This thrilling conclusion to the Ring of Fire storyline sees Pat and Amelia Earhart, yes, that Amelia Earhart, finally realize their attraction to one another. John Sunlight monologues all over Doc Savage about his master plan to destroy the United States, and Doc's crew finally arrives at Sunlight's Island to help rescue everybody. So it's time for some thrilling heroics. This is a fun story. It's amazingly fun. It's filled with action. It's filled with bombastic dialogue, villains who chew on the scenery like a dog with a bone. And it's all just over the top enough to make you ignore the implausibility of it all. The series ends with an explanation for what happens to Amelia Earhart while quoting her poem. And did you know she wrote poems? I didn't know she wrote poems. But they quote her poem Courage, and it's a proper send-off for not only the character, but for the entire series. Pick this one up, folks. Read it and enjoy it.
The Green Hornet meets the Spirit, number 1. Let me tell you something. I love these pulp heroes. The Spirit, the Green Hornet, Shadow, Phantom, all of them. I'll watch them at any point in time, and I'll read them even. In this case, it takes place in the World's Fair 1966, I want to say, and Britt Reed has a computer that can tell the future. He asks a few questions. When will the Vietnam War be over? Tells him exactly the time. It was kind of funny. And, well, during the evening, somebody tries to rob it, and the Spirit and Green Hornet show up to stop them. And, yeah, guys, it's a very basic comic book, but it's incredibly accurate to what you would get out of their comics. You know, it's fisticuffs. It's guys being guys. It's just fun. It's just pure fun.
Predator, Hunters number 4. The expedition finally reaches its goal, and they discover the hard way that Kahua Island is in fact the home of the alien hunter. Despite the fact that the technological advantage is on the side of humanity this time, the monster in question not using any of its normal high technology, the human squad finds themselves in a fight for their lives within seconds after meeting the monster. Can they survive long enough to leave the island, much less kill it? This issue was a lot of fun, and not just because of the mercenary versus alien action, though that was pretty cool. The island's jungle environment is depicted really well by artist Francisco Velasco, and writer Chris Warner is on the ball enough to keep reminding us that in a jungle, alien hunters aren't the only predators around. All told, this series has been feeling like a well-done action movie all along, and it's just continuing with this issue. And that's a good thing.
The 5-star books, the best of the best, for at least this week. These are the ones that are at the top of the heap.
Ab Irado number 3. As the hostage crisis in Montreal enters its 12th day, a desperate Riel attempts to infiltrate the rebels' hideout to rescue Nev. Nev herself tries to make things better for her fellow hostages, and Shogun realizes that he might be just less than a cop and more than a hired gun for the corporations that rule the country. We also learn more about Ghana's background and how she became a cyborg assassin. I cannot stress how fantastic this series has been. Out of all the books I'm reviewing right now, this might be the best currently published. The art is constantly amazing, the story is gripping, the characterization is deep, and there are no flat one-dimensional characters here. Not even the bad guys are evil just for the sake of being evil. It has a wonderful cyberpunk feel that comes right out of Blade Runner, and you actually start caring about what's going to happen to everybody. It's definitely the best comic I've read all week. Heartthrob, Season 2, Number 1. Callie was the recipient of a heart transplant from a professional thief named Mercer, and with his heart came all the skills and tricks of his trade. For a while, Callie was an even better thief than Mercer ever was while he was alive, but now she's got a real job and is desperately trying to live a normal life. But her friends are all still criminals, and they still keep trying to pull her back in. Kids, this issue was so well done that when I got to the end of it, I was surprised. It was that involving, and it was a quick read, but it didn't feel like a quick read. All the characters in this book feel like real human beings, despite being one of those situations that you only see in a movie or a TV show. And while I'm thinking about it, this would have made a fine TV show. The art could have been better, but it's certainly not bad enough to lose points over. And despite there not being a single action scene and having almost everything narrated, the plot just flowed like a river. If you get a chance, check this series out because you are not going to regret it.
So there you go, kids. Another bundle of independent comic books for you to ponder. So, did we help you out with any? Did you see any that you want to buy or read? Or did you see any that you want to flee from? Let us know in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, you want to see more, just click like, click share again. Share it on Twitter. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss anything. And most importantly, thank you very, very much for watching. Also, don't forget about the Patreon page. The link is in the description below. There we do give Patreon-only content as well as some creator control polls coming up here in a little bit. And a poll that you guys are really going to want to be a part of. Not to mention those videos. We have 2 up already for the History of Comics and 2 up for the First Appearance Fridays. And we're going to have a new Super Team Sunday coming as well.